Here we're making side frames for the shed where I've already pre-cut the wood. The bottom spar is the right length to fit between two upright frames that will, well, one of which is made and the other one will go up later. So what I've done initially is I've found the centre, confirmed it's 4 foot from the end of the base plate, and I've marked the centre there, and on here I've marked 2 foot centres from there, and obviously the end pieces won't be quite that far away, and I will do the same at the other end and get this all bolted together. One thing of course is that, oops, do a little twirl there, I don't know quite, I know the slope, but that end we're going to slope down to a 7 foot height in total, which means that the bar will be 5 foot 10 tall, and at this height the bar is 6 foot 10 tall for an overall height of 9 feet. But what I want to do is to just cut off the corner there a little bit so that I can slope the runners for the roof without having any gaps all the way down, and also I'll have to cut those to this roof slope, which I will do once I can measure everything up and I've put it all together. So let's crack on with it. I bought myself some of these so I don't bugger up the special ones I've got, like the extra long ones. Just getting there with the blade. I'm drilling pilot holes for the 100mm wood screws, followed by gluing and screwing them together and checking for square as I go. Stood up, see what it looks like. Okay, so far so good. Got that down the glue set. Spaces underneath. Okay, I'm going to do the other side now, but you don't need to see that because it's exactly the same. Right, now we come to noggins. I've got quite a few of these offcuts. I'm going to use those first. Oh, let me just work out how high I want the noggins off the deck. Oh, 2 foot 6 it is. Right, 3 foot 7. Right. What I'm going to do is just make sure the noggin will fit in there. Okay. Square. Where do I put my square? See what it looks like. That's never worked. Right, okay, slightly too short. That one I need to be slightly more careful about that. Just mark the line. 3 foot 6 up from there. Right. Okay, let's do. As there is no top spar yet, the uprights can move about, making a tight fit for the noggins unachievable until they're screwed, obviously. going to make some more of those. On these ones I'm going to put pocket holes in to draw those in, and on the end ones I can screw them in the end, but let's crack on and cut them all quickly. Right, well that's the noggins cut, but you see how I've taken the markings off the bottom so that I get it to keep those parallel going up. Light's fading now, so I'm going to stop recording, but I'm going to carry on. In the middle ones I'm going to put in pocket hole screws, pocket hole joints. The end ones are going to have a pocket hole joint on the inside and be screwed from the outside on the outside. And I'm going to do both ends, and I'll see you later when I start putting the rest of the frame together. God, it's been horrible weather over the past week and a bit, but never mind. Okay, so we have the back frame up without the noggins. It's not actually attached to anything other than the side frames by G-clamps, but I thought I'd throw them up for a quick test fit. And that's looking reasonable. That noggin's a bit low at one end, but never mind, I'll live with that. This one, on the other hand, has a bit of an issue with it, in that that piece of wood bows in at this piece bows in at the top, so I'm going to have to straighten that out. When I put the spire across the top, that should do that. But what I now need to do is to make this a slope. It's a 1 in 8 slope, so the shed should be 8 foot at the back and 7 at the front. And to establish that, what I'm going to need to do is to mark that at that height, less than allowance for the slope, and then go all the way down to mark this one at 1 foot lower, which I'll explain in a sec. So what we've done, or what I've done, is I made a mark on there, made a line, straight line at 90 degrees to here, marked 8 inches, marked 1 inch over and drew a slope, and then used that to establish my sliding bevel, to establish my angle. I've marked that on there, so I now know have that as a starting point, which I've then checked against my marking gauge, or rather put my marking gauge up to it and measured the distance, and that is 3/8 of an inch. So what I need to do, because I'm going to cut a slope in these, so it's 3/8 of an inch lower at this side than it is at the other, so that the rafter sits flat, or sits against, supported all the way along, and I'm going to do that all the way along there. So the first thing I need to do is make this 3/8 of an inch lower than this piece. So that's going to be 6 foot 10 less 3/8 of an inch. And down here though, the slope doesn't start here, it'll finish on this piece of wood, so that wants to be exactly 5 foot 10 tall. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm then going to put a cap across the top like I've got on here, cut to the appropriate angles, and then I'll tackle that side, which will be a little bit complicated because I'm going to have to go and put the cap on most of this, and then I'm going to have to go and tighten that up against the straight edge and then screw the cap in there, which I will do last. Okay, let's crack on with it. Right, so we're going to go 6 foot 10 from that joint, less 3/8 inch. down. I need a heavier brick. Sugar. This one over here must be 5'10". There. Right. Okay. Square that line across so it's in the right place. So we're going to measure, go from is here. Where we want to finish off is this 5'10" back end here. Right, hold on. Right, so we're going to check that straightish edge over here. And then we just mark across. Okay, so let's just show you what we've done, or what I've done. So we've gone from 6 foot 10 there. You can see there's a slope all the way down there, down to there. I'm now going to run a square across it, so I've got an idea of where I'm sawing. And because it's too wet to get out the circular saw, I'm going to get out a handsaw and do it. Let's get that out of the way for the moment. Here I'm making a knife wall and chiselling up the line. It makes for an easier line to follow and eliminates tear outs. Paul Sellers does it a lot. Right, now we'll go get a saw, except it's now beginning to drizzle, so I'll take the camera in and I'll come back out and I'll fill you in afterwards. Thank you for watching. Please like, share and subscribe, that really helps, and constructive comments welcome.